As soon as the creature disappeared from the tree line with Caleb, the forest was silent again. Olivia jumped out of her van, her eyes frantically scanning for any signs of life as she called out his name. "We need to move on foot and do it fast. They've probably taken him to the nest," her father insisted. I helped him out with gathering our gear in one place, making certain I had everything to enact his plan, along with that of his daughters. Caleb's sudden disappearance was enough to keep him distracted. He didn't really pay the extra bits of gear any attention. "What the hell is happening? What do they want from us?" Natalie screamed anxiously. That was a question that I knew we didn't have time to ask. So once we finished loading up our 2 backpacks, I helped Paul with his crutch and remarked, "I know you want to do this yourself, and you've proven that you don't let your disability stop you, but this is going to be different. We're going to be up against monsters larger than life." "I think I should echo the words you gave me when I first told you not to take this job," Paul quipped at me as he strapped the rifle to his back. We moved to the spot where Caleb was taken, and Olivia examined the ground, noting the displacement of brush and leaves, and using that to gauge which direction he was dragged in. "They haven't killed him." "Why haven't they killed him?" she muttered as she saw little scratch marks on trees where Caleb had tried to hold on for dear life. Despite the fact that I had never particularly liked the hunter, I felt sorry for him. That was fate worse than death from what Paul and his daughter had described on the drive up. Olivia took the lead, following the small trail up to the mountains. The forest was dense here, and all of us did our best to stay close to one another. But even then, I felt disoriented and lost. There weren't any stars in the sky, just the continuous swirling mass of the storm. As we got closer, the displacement of the trail became more apparent, as though Caleb was fighting again and the creature was having a hard time. Unfortunately, these scuffles that caused marks on the surrounding foliage were making it difficult to determine which way to go. We paused at one of these when Natalie checked the atmospheric pressure using the small portable laptop that she had opted to bring. The readings are off the charts in the valley to the north. Might be what we're looking for. We climbed to the next ridge to look down towards it. My mouth was agape at the sight. From the heavens to the forest canopy was a massive funnel that seemed to span the size of 4 football fields. It had to be the largest tornado I had ever seen. It wasn't moving, though, simply swirling with a huge amount of intense gusts of wind in the valley that Natalie had identified. The scanners showed the speeds were reaching almost 330 miles per hour. The nest had to be inside. How the hell are we going to go in that? If we even get close, it'll rip us to shreds. Paul watched as the funnel continued to destroy everything in the surrounding area and thought for a moment. At those speeds, even these demons couldn't possibly get close to returning to the nest. That must mean they have another entry point. Perhaps an underground tunnel of some sort, he suggested. As we climbed down towards the next ridge, even at this distance, we could hear the howling of the winds. Natalie's eyes widened at his suggestion, and she said, "That's it! Yeah, I remember when I checked on the radar, before the storm was here. I noticed there was an abandoned mine not too far." "Network of caverns could do nicely for a colony of overgrown ants," Paul agreed. "Hold on, I brought a few maps from the van." I tossed down my pack carelessly, and one of the transponders I brought rolled out into the forest floor. Olivia froze as her father looked at it. "What's this?" Mr. Kearney asked, picking it up, and then looking towards me for an explanation. His daughter opened her mouth to explain, but I had already conceived of a convincing lie. "When we get inside the nest, we're going to need a distraction if we want to destroy it. Creating a confined broadcast using the equipment from the station will be perfect. The drones won't know what hit them. We could blow the place sky high." Paul looked at it thoughtfully before placing it back in the pack. "Good thinking, Dylan. Next time, share with the class. We could have brought the rest," he said as I took out the map and nervously glanced at Olivia. She remained quiet as I spread out the chart to show the others. "Do you remember what parts of the radar matched up with our road trip from Emerald Bay?" Natalie studied the charts as Olivia focused on finding the trail again. Then we moved south. The trees themselves shook violently with each step. It was like walking through a wind tunnel, even from the distance that we were at. "These might be the mines," Natalie suggested, passing the map back to me and pointing towards one of the landmarks. But I'm afraid... in here I can't make heads or tails of anything. It's like a whole other world, she admitted, shivering as the cold finally hit. I paused, remembering how the cold always seemed to imply that we were close to the storm, and looked towards several slopes that ran along a river. They're attracted to the cold. On a hunch, I followed the stream south, marking a few trees as I went. And that was when I saw the mine. And even more exciting, I saw a few of the drones flying inside. Looks like we found one of the entry points, Paul said, patting my back in enthusiasm. How will we get inside? Olivia asked. I watched the drones come and go for a few minutes, noting their patterns, and said, looks like there's about a 90-second gap between them. We'll have to make it quick. With the howling winds at our backs and a timer counting down in my head, I grabbed Olivia's arm and all four of us moved as one. The stream of water trickled straight into the mine, and once inside, it wasn't difficult to guess which way to go. There was literally dozens of fresh bones scattered down the mine shaft, guiding our way. Most of them were animals. But as we followed the dense, dark corridor, I gathered that the creatures had also used this place to dispose of other remains as well. This is like their sewage system, Natalie realized, as we came to a wide open area that had stairs leading up. Most of it was covered in green, sticky goo. Dead skin. But we didn't have time to be concerned about the aesthetics, when Caleb's life hung in the balance. The climb led us up and out to another mine shaft, where we saw hundreds of drones lining up to make their way towards a shining bright light. They seemed to pay no heed as we slowly moved onto the side of the corridor towards the illumination. The nest? Olivia guessed. Paul looked down the long, running tunnel, frowning as he realized something. I think we may already be here, he said, as he gestured towards the rows and rows of cocoons. It looked like some sort of twisted nursery, with dozens of fresh corpses being forced into the webbing by larger drones. They're drawn to the cold. It makes sense that an underground network like this would be ideal for them. The storm protects them from above. Without the right know-how, anyone who came close would be obliterated. Or worse, Olivia said as she covered her mouth and pointed toward a cocoon about 7 rows down. It's Caleb. He's still alive, she said excitedly. Dylan, give me the charges. Natalie, I'll get to work setting them up along these passages. I think as long as we make no sudden moves, the colony won't view us as a threat here, Paul said, gesturing towards the drones that were blindly following the light. I looked towards Olivia for confirmation. She nodded, and I passed it to him before following her down the webbing towards Caleb. How are we going to do this? There's literally hundreds of people here being prepared to change into those things. I can't save them all. I don't know yet, she admitted, as she took out a knife and began to cut away at the cocoon. The whole webbing vibrated as she did, and I nervously looked about, hoping none of the creatures would notice. As Caleb was freed from his trappings and gasped for air, she said, This is a colony, right? She's got to be like some kind of queen. The one giving out all the commands. That's where we need to interrupt the signal. As Caleb kept coughing up blood, he pointed weakly towards the light that we saw above. But before I had a chance to look towards it, something in the caverns above stirred. It was a growl deeper than any creature I'd ever encountered before, and as I looked up to get a better view, I realized that was because it was at least twice as large as the massive entity we had encountered at the train yard. This one had giant legs like rose stems, with thorns poking at and driving into the tunnel walls, along with more than a dozen strange openings on its body, which resembled miniature mouths with rows and rows of gnashing teeth. As I got closer, I saw the main body had dozens of dangling feelers that blindly searched for prey, and I grabbed at Olivia to get out of there. She refused to do so until I helped with Caleb as well. The creature's screams were so loud, I was sure the whole colony shook. There was no way to hide from its wrath. All the drones responded to its shrieks as we ran through the dark path. We moved to one of the massive chambers with more cocoons, like the one that Caleb had broken free of, which had tons of distributed webs as well. The hatchlings had woken, and now we found ourselves staring down the lifeless eyes of newly hatched monsters, half turned from their old human bodies to eat us alive. I raised a gun to fire and told Olivia to get behind me. And then The whole colony was down on top of us. Hey guys, I just want to make sure that all of you take a look in the description down below for multiple different reasons. The main reason I'm talking about right now, though, is to look at the author's links. Every time that I do a story on one of these platforms, I post links from the authors. Some of them are books that the authors put out. If you like the stories that you hear, then I highly, highly encourage you to go scroll down, take a look in the description, click one of those links. If you like that author, I guarantee you they have something else that you're going to like. And if they have a book out there, you're going to love that book. I mean, hell, that's how Tales from the Gas Station became what it is, okay? If you guys heard it on YouTube, then hey, there are more, bigger, better versions of it out there that you can get on Amazon or Audible or No Sleep or what have you. So for reals, scroll down, check out the links. And that's not like an advertisement thing. I'm just like, look, this is for your benefit. Check it out. And as always, I want to give a very big thank you to everybody who supports me on Patreon. Thank you so much. A very big thank you to Jordan Alexander Sanchez, Stephanie Butler, Reaper61167, Bobby Karman, Tristain, Pelton, Chance Burnett, Diana Kraus, Thiccy McQuicky, SamaHigh, CrusaderChocobo, SpookyShel, Atomaurus, Grand Moth the Milky, Big Smoke 369, Captain Scurvy, SaltyIrishPoet, Estebean, Brayden Morris, Nate Kuhl, HorrorFan1212, Hour Minute Second Time, Kyle Reznak, David Martin, Scare-ington the Unkempt, Robert Malcolm, Angelus, Spanky, Snoochie Boochie, Seclude, Lupita Galvin, That Creepy Chick, Tyler Fletcher, Merxenum, Red Shadow Cat, Xavier the Cheyenne, Demix, Sean Cadieu-baker, 6 Gay Rats in a Trenchcoat, Turtleman, Rob Like Sharp Things, Cryolinian, Xavier Graphius, Lord Life's Best, Goring Tremagacy, Maria Walker, Emily Mitchell, Crazy Kid, Mr. Marcus Blitz, Eka Limchok, Dirt Diver 030, Matt Bach, Voice of Sand, Coffee Zombie, Hidden Tiger, Shelly J, Jeremy H, Psychomel, Nana, Deleted Account, Melted Lake, Tali Sue, William King, Darth Miver, Michael Ortiz, Satanic Aries, Bardo Hawk 764, Lambda M98, Harley, Sashi Suzaku, Cronut 509, Kaylee Ambrose, Suji Campbell, Stricken, Freddy Krueger, Happy Birthday Jason Wilson, Lisa Cottrell, Caspian, Hades Nephew, Tater Chip, Acid System, Prozac and Pancake Appreciation Society, Benjamin Welvert, Cryptic Nightmares, Kiri the Sloth, Fester's Lampshade, Sky Harbor, Nico Kyle, Raphael Rodriguez, The Ginger Bros, Aaron Stormcrow, Daniel Polson, and Corey Kenshin. As always, thank you guys so much, because you guys help me do everything that I do here. You guys help pay authors for stories and commission stories and do everything that I can do to make this channel and make this podcast the best it could possibly be. So thank you all for supporting me here. And as always, everyone, sweet dreams.